Hi guys, welcome back to another interesting tutorial. And here I'm just going to show you guys how I created this dress. Okay, so the first thing I did was to times bust times 2 plus 2 inches seam allowance. So here I'm just trying to rule out all of my lines the way I'm going to smoke it. So I'm just marking ½ inch apart from each other. This is very important, guys. So I'm through marking out the half inch. So I smoked this dress up to the half length of the client, and I started my neckline from about 6 inches. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to pick the elastic thread, and I'm just going to reel it with my hand. Okay, you have to do this with your hand. Don't make it too tight, don't make it too loose. Just keep going and going and going until your bobbin is full. Okay, so that's what I'm just trying to do in this place. So this is not really a difficult project to do, just concentrate. This project is a project that just needs your concentration and attention. Okay, so I started my neckline from 5 and I use a standard of 4 inches to find the armhole line. Okay, so when I'm done putting my elastic thread in my bobbin, then I'll go over to the sewing machine to show you guys how I'm going to be smoking this dress. So the first thing I'm going to do is to hem the top of the dress. Okay, I'm just going to hem the top of the dress before I can start smoking. Okay, that's what I'm just trying to show you guys here. So we'll go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to hem that quickly. Okay, so yeah, I'm just hemming the top of the dress, which is very important. You do that first. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to pick a scrap fabric before I go to the main dress, just to test my stitches, my tension, to see if everything is right. So yeah, I'm trying to remove the regular thread so I can put the elastic thread in the bobbin case. Okay, so this is the elastic thread. It's just the same process of you putting the regular thread. That's exactly the same way you're going to put the elastic thread. Okay, there's no difference. So I'm just going to put that in, and I'll pick a scrap fabric, and I'm going to use the scrap fabric to test my tension, my stitches. I set my machine tension to 3 inches at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to see if 3 inches is going to work out nicely and if it's going to work out fine for me. So I'll pick a scrap fabric now and I'll try that out to see. So after making 2 rows of stitches, I found out that I had to increase my stitch a little bit. So I changed my stitch to 3.5 inch. Okay, and that was working perfectly. So that's exactly how I set my machine stitch into 3.5 inches. So I don't know if I want to call it stitch or tension, but if you are using industrial machine, just know that you have to set it to 3.5 inches. Okay, that's a little bit loose stitch. So that really helped me to shell this fabric really nicely. So I'm just checking my stitches, the front and the back, to see if I'm happy and I'm okay with what the machine is giving me. So if I'm happy, I'm going to pick the main dress and I'll start sharing the dress. So I'm just going to keep the scrap fabric aside and I'll pick up the main dress now that I'm happy with the stitch that my machine is giving me. So the fact that I ruled out all my lines which I'm going to sew made my life so much easier. Okay, this is very important, guys. But if you know that you are good in eyeballing the distance, that's also very fine. But I wanted this project to be a very easy and smooth project for me. I didn't want it to be very tedious, trying to eyeball ½ inch apart, or sometimes I try to use my machine presser foot when I'm doing project like this to station it on the other stitch line, you can also do that, but I wanted this to be as easy and as fast as possible because I needed to deliver this dress to the client. And I also used a tailor's chalk, which we just wear off over time. Okay, so ruling these lines, guys, made this project very, very simple, like I said before. So I'll just keep going and going and going until I get to the last line, guys. So when you start sharing your dress, you're not going to see the effect from the first 2, 3, 4 stitches. I think you start seeing the sharing effect from like the 5th stitch. Okay, so the first few stitches you don't really see the gathering effect. Okay, so after that you are going to now, after the 5th stitch or the 4th stitch rather, that's when you are going to now start seeing the sharing effect. Okay, so this is a very easy project. All you need to do is just to stay attentive and calm, and before you know it, and you are done sharing your dress. Okay, so I'm just going to keep sharing and sharing and sharing until I get to the end part of my lines, which I've ruled out here. So guys, we're almost done sharing this dress. So, and another thing I need to point out here is that when you start seeing the sharing effect, you are going to keep opening your fabric. You don't want the fabric to gather itself. Okay, you want the elastic thread to do the work for you. So as the stitches are getting more intense, as the gathering is getting fuller, as you are going to the next line, you are going to keep using your hand to be opening up your fabric. You want your fabric to be as flat as possible. You don't want any gathers. You don't want the fabric to gather itself. Okay, just watch what I'm trying to do here so that you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to keep using my hand to open up, to open up my fabric. Can you see as I go? Because you don't want the fabric to open up, it to gather itself. Okay, so I'm just going to be keeping all the gatherings away from the road as I'm sewing, away from the way rather as I'm sewing. So I'm just going to keep using my 2 hands to open up that fabric. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, because you don't want the fabric to gather itself, you want the elastic thread to do the job for you. Hi guys, so here we are done sharing the front part. So I'm just going to show you guys exactly what I did. I off my neckline. I started my neckline off because this is an off the shoulder dress by 6 inches, and my sharing stop at 17 inches. Okay, I hope you guys can see clearly what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just showing us my neckline start from 6 and I shelled it up to 17 inches. So this is the front of the dress. So I'm going to repeat the same process for the back. So as you can see, this is the back, which I've not shelled yet. So I'm just placing the front on top of the back for you guys to see how wide it is, and you can see how small it became after sharing it. Okay, so this is the back. I'm going to do the same thing for the back. So that's a really, really wide piece that became this small. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to repeat the same process for the back as well, like I did the front. So now the both back and front are done, as you can see here. So I'm just going to take my time to clean out all of the thread, all of the pieces of thread on it. I'm just going to take my time to do that. And the next thing I want to do, I want to sew with 0.5-inch seam allowance. So I'm going to be sewing this with a French seam. French seam simply means facing the wrong side towards each other instead of right side to right side like we would normally sew. because I want the inseam to be, I want it to have like a clean finish on the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to place the front side, the wrong side towards each other. Okay, so I can sew. So here I'm just showing us the wrong side and on the good side. Okay, so this really looks flawless, guys. This is really flawless. So I hope you guys can really see this dress is really flawless. So now I'm going to shape them, put them together. I'm just going to sew with a 0.5-inch seam allowance. So here I'm just trying to pin, so I can take it to my sewing machine and I'll sew. I'm placing the wrong side facing each other because I'm going to be French seaming this. I'm going to be sewing. You can see our armhole is still there. Like, you are going to start sewing from the bottom of the armhole. The armhole is still going to remain open because we're going to be adding sleeve to that part. Now I've sewn the wrong side all the way down to the hem. Okay, I sewed on the right side rather because it's French seam. So the next thing I'll do is to turn it over to the good side, to the wrong side now, because this is the right side. I made my first stitch on the good side, so I'm going to turn it over to the wrong side. Then I'm going to be making my other stitch. So but before I do that, I'm going to trim out all of this seam allowance here to make my French seam easy. So I'm going to trim out the allowance all the way down. I'll trim, then I'll turn it over to the wrong side, then I'll sew. So yeah, I'm just showing you guys what I've done so far and what the French seam looks like. Okay, this is the wrong side right now. There's no rough edge whatsoever because I first sewed on the good side and later I'm sewing on the wrong side. Okay, no rough edge, everything looks clean, finished on the inside of this dress. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is to work on the sleeves. Okay, when I'm done with the dress, I'm going to start working on the sleeve. Okay, so I hope you guys can see there's no rough edge. It's a clean finish on the inside of the dress. Okay, so now I can turn it out to the good side now. So now here's the sleeve. I'm also going to rule the same lines, the same way I rule all of the lines out on the main fabric. I'm doing the same thing. So what I did, I also times the round sleeve of the client by 2. The round sleeve of the client is 16 and I added another 16 and another 2-inch for seam allowance, just the way I did to the main body of the dress. So I've gone ahead to share all of that. Okay, I had the sleeve length was 10 inches and I shelled up to 5-inch and I left the other 5-inch to create the gathers. Okay, I made a 10-inch long stitch, a 10-inch long fabric, and I shelled 5-inch out of the 10-inch and the remaining 5-inch is forming the gathers that you can see around there, just the same way the dress was. So I'm going to be placing the armhole of the dress to the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to sew them together. I'm also going to be sewing this with a French seam as well because I want this dress to have a clean finish. I'm not going to be weaving it. Okay, so I'm just going to take some pins and I'll pin the sleeve together with the dress, then I'll take it to my sewing machine and I'll sew that together. Hi guys, so now our dress is done. I've fixed the sleeve to the body of the dress, which is really looking nice and flawless. I hope you guys can see. So the last thing I'm going to be doing here, this dress has like a strap. Okay, if you can see from the picture, there's like a strap which I've just created. This strap that is like 2 inches wide. Okay, I'm going to be joining it to the dress. As you can see, we are done. That's the finished look of the dress. So there's the strap. I'm just going to sew it on the inside and from the front to the back. So I'm going to leave some space on the strap because it's like they did the dress like a bow tie from the one the client sent to me. so I'm going to leave some space. So I'm just pinning the strap onto the dress. So I'm going to be sewing it on the wrong side with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to place it there and I'll pin, then I'll take it to the sewing machine, I'll sew, and we are all done making this dress. So as you can see, my strap is really long. I'm just going to try to create like a bowl or something around there so that I can drop down on the client's shoulder just the way it is in the picture. Okay, so this is a really fun project. I hope you guys are able to try this out to see what this dress looks like. Hi guys, so here's the finished look of this dress. This dress is really nice and flawless, and I hope some of you guys, after watching this video, are going to get inspired and try this same design out. So the client really loved it and it's a really beautiful dress. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll probably be seeing you guys in my next video. So if you have any more questions, you can write me your question in the comment section and I'll be glad to answer every of your questions. Bye.